Hey, guess who's back? Oh, did you miss me? So listen, once again, I'm going through old journals, right? And I came across this little piece I want to share with y'all. I don't know who might need it, but the title of it is Detox. And it is, like I said, in an old journal and it's all scratchy and I never edited, I never rewrote it. It's just like, yeah, it's scribble scrabbles all over it. So bear with me reading it. But I'm going to go ahead and try to read it to y'all. Again, the title is Detox. I can't think a single thought without reflecting back to the first feeling of euphoria that time and bitter chance have long since faded. I embrace you to escape the pain, knowing full well the rapture would be momentary and destruction and longing would swiftly replace it. The hell of it all is knowing the blissful rush you provided would never be felt again, yet not having the will to cease in my chase, avoiding all mirrors to evade the truth I knew would be written all over my face. I hurt when I can't find you. I hurt thinking all I've lost indulging in you. I hurt yielding to the notion that I can't function without the malice of your presence. It's insane. I hurt when I give in and partake of your pleasure only to bring myself more pain. The more you seem to damage me, the more I feel locked in. The more I find myself on a walk of shame from your shadow, the more I wonder where we've really been. Where's the exit door? Does the person who never needed you exist anymore? One day at a time is easier said than managed. 24 hours of every single day, my will abounds, then slowly vanishes. Keep moving, occupy your time, get a hobby, and all the other self motivating bits. Don't hold much weight when I'm alone in the dark, a broken junkie needing a fix. But I trust, I must, I thrive, I thrust, I sweat, I bleed, and I pray. Remembering I got along long and strong, long before you ever came into play. Now, I wrote that, like I said, years ago. I was talking about a boy when I wrote that. I was talking about a boy. But it could easily be fitted to many other addictions, like addiction to YouTube, attention, whatever device, whatever vices that we have. It could apply to many addictions and bad habits because there's a love shaped hole in all of us that we we often fill with the wrong thing. Every habit, every addiction is just medication, a balm, a solvent for something that's hurting us. We all, hey, Levon, baby girl, we all reach for different things. My father used to say, some people feel the rain and others just get wet, which I found out later is actually a Bob Marley quote. But yeah. And something else Bob Marley said that I dig is that too much of anything is good for nothing. Um, yeah, wow. Those addictions. What are we looking for? And how do we judge? Like, do I judge you because your addiction is different from mine? Do ooh, I had so much to say on this topic, and now I can't even find the words because I figured with my little title, when addiction was in the title, people would think it was one thing. It's not. It absolutely is not. But I feel like we shouldn't judge because you sin differently. I'm going to judge you because you sin differently from me when we all sinners out here. If you want to look at it that way, I don't know. If you're a saint that never did, raise your hand. Salute to you. But anyway, I don't know. I hope that resonates with anybody that's listening, and people might catch it in the replay or whatever. But like I said, when I wrote that, I was talking about a boy. I remember that so vividly. I won't go into that whole damn story. But I remember it was about a boy. But how well does it fit with so many other addictions and bad habits that we have? So I don't know. Carrie, so how you doing, babe? I'm just up rambling. I was looking at, hey, food junkie. Oh, you on your way home? Okay. We talking about addictions, bad habits, and what causes them. What hole are we trying to fill with whatever addiction, whatever medicine we reach for? Because addiction is tantamount to it's self-medicating. So whatever medication you reach for, what is the core of the pain that you are feeling? Because that's where it all comes from. And we tend to judge each other, like I was saying, because your addiction is not the same as mine. And let me tell y'all, one of my major addictions that I still battle is rage within itself. You just woke up from a bad dream of you cheating. Oh, no, Carrie. Hit the link, Carrie, please. I want to hear about this dream. Grandma, hey, baby. Yeah, addiction can be many things, Levon. And again, we judge each other because your addiction is not the same as mine, or your sin is not the same as mine. So is that whole thing. But what was I saying? Oh, my rage and anger. It just felt, it was, I don't want to say it was my happy place, but let's just say anger was my default setting. And I could function there very well. It felt like home. I was talking to my son recently, and I was telling him that I feel good. Like, I like to clean, I like to organize. That's my thing. But at a certain point, I was in a place where I would cause chaos just so I would have something to clean and straighten and fix and organize. If you get my meaning. But as far as the conversation with my son, he was mad at somebody. And you know how kids are. I just want to kill him. And I was like, why would you kill him? You all mad and booked up. You'll probably have these memories for years to come. You'll probably feel the fallout of what he put you through for years, but you want to kill him. See, I don't get that, because my belief system says, and I'm just speaking for me, my belief system says that in death you find peace, because you go on, you meet your higher power and that whole thing. So I never understood why, if somebody slights you, why you gonna kill them and set them free? No, I don't want you to die. I want you to live to be 200 years old. I'm going to tell you what my son said to me he said, Mom, that's because you seem like a poodle that enjoys table scraps. But Mom, you really a vampire. that enjoy playing with your food. I said, run that by me one more time, son. You seem like a poodle that enjoys table scraps, but you're really a vampire who likes playing with your food. This is what the hell my son said to me. Y'all make that make sense. And he was like, the people that call themselves giving you the table scraps are actually the food. And I guess I can get that a little bit. I know I sound about psycho right now, but just, hey, nubiology. Join the club. It is what it is. But seriously, my entire life, I've never gotten why, like the death penalty. I don't believe in that. Not because I don't want somebody to die and oh, no, because why put them out of their misery? And that's how I feel about it. I can put one person in my head who shot me a major dirty. And it's been some years ago. And I'm past it. I don't know if I'm over it. That's just me being honest. I don't know if I'm over it, but I'm past it. But when I would think about that person, I would want to kill him. That was the last thing on my mind. What I would do if I had it my way with that person who did what he did and affected me and affected my family the way he did, I would hang him upside down by his ankles with rusty shackles and use a drip, like an IV drip with some good old penicillin to make sure he don't get sepsis or tetanus or anything that's going to, take him out sooner than I need him to be, isotonic or, something like that. And then promethazine to keep him from getting sick and, a glucose bag just so, he don't dehydrate. Those are the first things I'm doing. And then I will put honey on his genitals and on his face and let some starving rats at him for the first few days. And then slice him up with a rusty razor blade and put lemon juice, vinegar, and alcohol in his wounds. Again, the alcohol, because we don't want him to get infected and die too fast, right? Jab him under his eyelids and in all 10 of his fingers, all 10 of his toes, right up under the nail. Again, with rusty, sharp shards, right? I would use, and see this person, I'm going to just go ahead and tell y'all he was a pervert. So I would have taken a metal chastity belt, outfitted with spikes, and played videos of the thing that he was so attracted to, so that if he became aroused and swole up inside that chastity belt with the spikes, boom, how that feel? See, this is what I would do. Die for what? I would play constant migraine triggering algorithm sounds all day. Put a fresh plate of delectables right in sniffing distance where he could see it and smell it, but never get a taste of it. Baby, by the time I would get done with this man, Satan himself will be praying for his deliverance. And not only that, Satan would pray for my salvation, because Satan would be too scared for me to enter his hell and come up with some fancy ideas down there. Death, not so much. I want you to live to be 203 years old. So with that said, I kind of get why my son called me a vampire. Food junkie said, you're right. Your son is right. You're a vampire. I'm just saying. Because see, I was speaking with a friend of mine about death and why people are afraid of death. Because one of the last things out of somebody's mouth, like when they in that moment, you don't have to do this, or please no. What are they afraid of? Why are people afraid of death? We never died. We don't know what it's going to be like. It might be good. But again, in my belief system, death brings you peace. So in times when I was in a tight spot and I was afraid, I wasn't afraid to lose my life. I was afraid for that person to do something to me that I was going to have to live with the memory and the fallout of. So you do a thing to me and I got to live with it. I need therapy. I need whatever. I'm having broken relationships or bad relationships with my kids and just all type of shit. I'm scared of the dark. Boo, because of something you done to me. But I'm going to kill you and set you free? Not so much. No. Anyway. Carrie, where you at? I wanted you to hit the link and tell me about the dream. Please come and save me from myself because I know I sound about psycho right now. Levon said I'm too young for this. It just is what it is. It just is what it is. I gave myself a rent, you ungrateful bastards. Wow. That's the name of the half. Hey, Red, you stay with that preaching that cake. Ready, Red, I'm not thinking about you. But I love you. Okay, I'm looking at the comments because I think I missed some. Let me try to go back up and pin this. See if it's up here, first of all. Y'all know I don't know what I'm doing. Carrie, are you still in here? Can you see the link? Carrie, Glamma, somebody, I need to know if it's working. Just giving me flowers. Thank you for the flowers, Really Red. But like, seriously, back to what was I saying? Too much of anything is good for nothing. That's one thing. And listen. Some of my YouTube buddies have told me to stop saying you're not a content creator, newbie. You've done this, you've done that, and you do your poems. And I guess I feel like I'm not a content creator because I don't see a place and a time will I'll ever be into it for the numbers. Certainly not for money because it's just not. I'm not crapping on anybody who getting a coin from over here and enjoying it. It will never be enough money for me. And I can never put myself in a place where I have to depend on what somebody else is going to do. See, I was raised to work by the sweat of my brow. So my money, my comfort, my livelihood, it's got to be something I'm doing because I know what I'm going to do. I don't know what the hell y'all going to do tomorrow. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm not crapping on anybody who's in the whole YouTube gig for that reason. I'm just saying I don't think that'll ever be me. So, and another thing about it, just being perfectly honest, I can't be consistent. I've tried. Like when I first done my first little live, I said I'm gonna try to aim to do 2 or 3 lives a week. I don't have the hours in my day to do it. This title that y'all looking at right now has been on a notepad for probably 3 weeks. I make little notes and whatever, and see, I'm all over the place. Bear with me, y'all. That's another thing. This conversation that I had with my son yesterday, it was a good conversation because I called him for one thing and we ended up on the phone for like 4 hours. And he was like, every time I need a refill out of the blue, you call me or somehow we link up and you refuel me. And it's vice versa. That's my mini me. That son, I know why God made him a boy. He couldn't have been a girl. We wouldn't have got along. We too much alike. He is me and I am him. But the conversations that we have, they just flow. Ideas that I have flow. But when I try to bring them to y'all, it's totally different. I got notes in front of me right now. I haven't read any of them. And I thought about it like me being a writer. I write what's raw and what's fresh and what I'm feeling or what comes to me. But say, for instance, I feel like writing something and then I get a call from my good Judy and I tell her about whatever I'm pissed off about or happy about or whatever I'm feeling. It's not going to be the same when I go to write it because I got it all out on her. So I think in turn, when I get an idea or a thought and I try to make notes to do a YouTube live about it, it's no longer raw. It's no longer passion in it because I've gotten it out on paper. Because let me tell you, I can see two words. Like I think of something, I write a line, and then I look at that like, ooh, that would make a good poem. And then boom, I'm over here. I done wrote a whole poem about it. Or I go this way and I write a short story about it. Or I add to one of the 17,000 novels I'm in the process of writing. And I've got it all out. So the passion is not organic. And that just feels weird to me. I don't know how to pretend, and a lot of stuff that I've even gotten out tonight, I talked about it with my son already. So it's like chewed meat. I don't want to talk about it again. It feels funny, if that makes sense. I don't know if y'all get that or not. But I don't know. I just don't think that YouTube lives is for me. I don't think it's for me. Maybe I'll do better with uploads. And it's hard to, again, hats off. And I told Grandma this the other day. Hats off, kudos to people who can come and hold down a one-sided conversation for hours, whether it's people in the chat or not, or whatever. And I know it's probably easier when people are in the chat and you engaging and bouncing off of them. I'm not good at this. And because of that, a lot of people on YouTube think that I'm quiet. Ask Demetra. When she met me in person, she said that's one of the first things. Like, ooh, I thought you didn't talk a lot. Good guy. Yeah. All I do is run my mouth. But I can't make up stuff or try to think of what's going to be appealing to the people or what they want to hear. I don't know. That's just not who I am. And maybe it comes in time. Maybe I need to learn. I don't know. But it's just, once I write it, that's because writing has always been my outlet. Writing has always been my outlet. So I can come live and read from old journals or even newer journals because I still journal. I journal every day. Every day. And I have like 6 different journals that I write in about different things every day. And I do that because at one point, all the journals were pretty dark. I would write when I was hurting or when I was sad or when I was upset or confused or frustrated. I would write those thoughts out. And then when I would go reread those, I would relive those feelings. And like, that's no good. So I started my happy journal. And it literally consists of 3 things that made me smile within a day's time. And it's the most random thing sometimes. 3 things that made me smile. I write about those every day. Sometimes I'll get my 3 things during the day. Sometimes I don't get them till that night. But however, by the end of the day, I've written 3 things that make me smile. And then I have my What About Tomorrow journal. Then I have my That's my what about tomorrow journal is what I plan to do tomorrow that usually never gets the F done, but I write it down anyway. And then I reflect back on it or whatever. And then I have my this morning inside my head where when I wake up, whatever time I wake up, and I am not a morning person, I am a vampire on so many levels. But whatever time I wake up, I write about whatever is on my mind, whatever is fresh on my mind, and it usually starts with a word. And my daughter was saying that she wants to get back to writing. And she was like, I don't know what to write about. And I told her, just start writing random words. Whatever word pop in your head, write it and keep doing that until you got 10 words and take those words and it'll flow from there. And so that's what I do with my this morning inside my head. I just write random, but mine at this point is usually whatever I was watching on my way to sleep or the last thing I watched on, YouTube or the news or just whatever I wake up thinking about, I write it first thing in the morning. And it's interesting when you go back after some time and read those, you go back and read those journals. And so that, again, I got tired of just going and reading the bad stuff, the sad stuff. Ben Zone, hey, how you doing? So yeah, I'm pro write it down. And this is why I always is scrolling across the screen now, mad scientist with a pen and a pad, and again, back to this conversation with me and my son, I told him I feel like I'm a far better writer than I am an orator. And he disagreed. But when I have time to sit and think about what I want to say, I think the more you go live, the more comfortable you'll become with running a live and verbally expressing. Yeah, it's just LaVon getting to it. I think about it almost every day. And when it's time to do it, I just find 17,000 other things to do. And that's on the days when I have time. Because it was several times I had live set. I know y'all probably seen them. I had them set up. And then my daughter called or the dog needed to be walked or, somebody down to the job needed something. So again, with that, hats off to the people who can do this every day and commit to it. Because it is, believe me, it's more than just a notion. I don't know where they find the time. But I love y'all. I like it here. I really do. And that's, what's crazy, LaVon? Benz, y'all, whenever I'm watching, if I'm not, a lot of times I'm watching, I'm listening and I'm moving around or, doing 17,000 things. But when I'm actively watching, I'm constantly writing notes that I want to, some thought, or I might type in somebody's chat and they don't see it. And so I write that down like, yeah, I want to talk about that later. And it just, I don't know, it feels like chewed meat after I've already dealt with it. Do that make sense? Demon does that too. Writing is definitely a lost art form. I used to be wild until I sat down and started writing. Right. That's Food Junkie. That is my thing. Those words. And that, I'm telling you, I am a mad scientist. If I don't have confidence about anything about nubiology, give me a pen and a pad and watch the magic happen. But it, again, it's got to be from someplace real. I remember my cousin has a little club here in Mississippi, and she has an open mic night. And so she wanted me to like host the open mic nights and do spoken word, open it that way, and then host. And that was cool and fun. I suffer from stage fright as well, believe it or not. I really do. And then I started trying to write what I thought people wanted to hear. during, my little set, and it was trash. All the writers under the sound of my voice write for an audience of one, right? Like nobody else is ever going to read it. If it's in you, it's going to touch somebody. Just be you on paper. That's it. That's the best advice I can give you. Because when you start letting other thoughts get in your head, like if they might not like it, and I should say it like this, and so do it this way, it's going to be trash. Be organic. Just be you. I'm a content creator. The more you go live, it's like riding a bike. Is it? Okay. And I believe it. And a lot of the people that I follow have been encouraging me to do this for a long time, and I appreciate that. A lot of it is just finding the time to do it. It is just having you look at what time it is. Look at what time it is. Most people are asleep, but these are my peak hours. Because again, I keep vampire hours. This is my thinking time. This is my time to myself. Because baby's fed, he sleep, husband taken care of. I done did all the wifely duties and got it, you know what I'm saying? And everybody settled in, and this is my time. But who the hell else is woke this? Well, I guess somebody is. Y'all here. So it's just finding the time to do it. You're not in Jackson, the home of... No, I'm not in Jackson. Thank goodness. Hey, Levi, I got that house down there. I got all that land in the country. We got a well out there. So push come to shove, I'm going to have fresh water. But no, I'm not in Jackson. Very close by. As a matter of fact, there's a picture on some news cycle. I don't even know which thing it was, but there's a white SUV in a ditch in Newton County where a bridge broke. That's my daughter's truck. If you all have seen that picture, but no, we're doing fine. I'll definitely enjoy the stream of thought and type of writing. You work graveyard, or you a vampire too? Like, right? Team Valkyrie. I've always been a night bird, long as I can remember being me. And my parents had a strict 7:30, 8 o'clock-ish bedtime. And I can remember so many nights just laying there looking up at the ceiling or looking out the window at the stars. I have always been a night person. And that's another thing. How much of your childhood do you all feel like makes you who you are in adulthood? And I'm not talking about crutches and excuses and mommy was mean and daddy didn't hug me. Not that bullcrap. Because after a certain point, I don't give a damn what you've been through. It becomes about choices. And I just respect people more who decide, I just still want to be an asshole. Yeah, my childhood was rough. Life is hard. Get a helmet. But I just like being an asshole. I respect that more, just the honesty of it. I don't want to get it together. I want to drink. I want to smoke. I don't feel like working. Say it. Be it. And live it. And don't talk about no goddamn body else that's doing better than you. That whole thing. But how much is subconscious? How much of our childhoods shape who we are and is still an active force in our everyday life today, whether we acknowledge it or not? See, I had a sister with sickle cell anemia. And we slept in the same room. She was my roommate. When she passed away, I was 8 and she was 15. And both of my parents worked outside of the home. Um, and they were real big socialites. They was always some damn where doing something. But a lot of nights I stayed awake listening to make sure that she was okay. And then I'm just going to say this, because of her condition, she had a tendency to wet the bed. Not all the time, but she did. And my father was super strict and military in his whole thing. And so I would make sure that I was up if that happened so I could help her clean that situation. So I have to wonder, all these years later, is that the reason why I'm still a night person? Why I just don't, as hard as I try to put myself on the normal clock, I'm always up at night. These are like my peak hours. And I know the old cliche, the early bird gets the worm. But first of all, I don't want a fucking worm. But I get a lot done when I'm up and functioning. I do what needs to be done, you know. As that takes me all the way back to, why is every, like, these people with this attitude, if you don't do what I do, if you're not living how I live, something's wrong with you, and I'm shitting on you, and you're not as good as me. Could it be that we're just different? Why we just can't be different and leave it at that? Why does somebody have to be better? And even if you are the one that's doing a little bit better, why can't you just focus on your betterment and not point out somebody else's downfall? What's going on with you that your good ain't good enough? You got to point out somebody else's bad. What is that? That's rhetorical. Anyway, back to what I was saying. How much of our childhood shaped who we still are? Without, again, without the excuses and blaming it on mommy and daddy and uncle whoever. When I thought about that with my sister, staying up nights to listen for her, it made me question, why is my favorite color black for real? Did I just choose black? Did it just appeal to my eyes, or is it a deeper meaning? Why? Yeah, it made me question what could possibly be down in me, buried, and I don't realize it, but I'm behaving and acting to it, because that's, you know, pain, inner pain, that deep seated, deep rooted pain manifests itself in the form of behavior. So how much of me is just who I am, and how much was created as a persona to protect me, to ease the pain of something else? And, am I the only one that think like that? I really, really, truly believe that I won't say 80, I'll say 60. I'll break it down to 60. I think a good 60% of our persona is a defense mechanism. Do the people on YouTube really know who you are? Like, really know who you are? All of the little eccentricities and bugaboos? Do they really know? Or do you give them what you want them to see? and strength. How real how real is strength? And I say that because I've always felt that the very foundation of strength is the recognition of one's weaknesses. So that loops me right back around to our personas being a defense mechanism. Black is the collection of all colors, while white is the absence of color. You see beauty in the complete picture. I agree, Food Junkie, and I appreciate you because let some people tell it. Black is the absence of all color. I really want you to get your head around that and tell me how the hell that's supposed to work. Really think about white and black. How the hell? Okay. Nature versus nurture. For your sister may have attributed to. Yeah. But yeah, Food Junkie, I'm glad I'm not the only person that sees it that way because you talk to an art student, they'll argue black is not a color, it's the absence of. Yeah, okay. That makes zero sense to me. But what was our strength? See, I was raised, and um, I think it was Demetra. I was in her room the other night, and they were talking about men crying. And is it appropriate? Is it acceptable? What society thinks about it? Um, I didn't raise my boys with that men don't cry theology at all. And a lot of it, see, again, going back to childhoods and how much it becomes a part of who we are. See, I had a very, very proper mother and a very militant father. And we were taught to keep our emotions in check. You don't open displays of affection. That all of that was a no-go in Newbyville, right? And so that just became a part of me. So when I got to raising my own children, even in my relationships and marriages and that whole thing, because I'm sure that husbands and boyfriends past were affected by it as well, I probably seemed pretty stoic. And see, I was a person that would go once a situation, and I'll give y'all an example. I think just the other side of 3 years ago, my son was shot in his face, and he's fine. He survived. He don't even have a scar. That's not the point of my story. But that night, getting to the hospital, getting him checked out, I was fine, and I kept telling myself, be strong, hold it together, because if you fall apart, everybody and everything around you is going to fall apart, because this is how I was trained. Hold it in, you hold it together. And then once I found out he was okay, they just wanted to take him and do what do you call it? I can't even think of the name of the test, but they took him off for testing. And I asked them where the restroom was, and I went to the restroom and I fell out on the floor and I screamed and I snotted and I cried. And then I pulled myself together, wiped my face, and went back out there and went business as usual. That's how I am when every death in my family, all of the moments where you think I would have broken down. And some of you who have heard me before talk about it, I think everybody under the sound of my voice now know I have 11 children, right? And I would get like this crap that goes on YouTube with the random stupid ass CPS calling. That happened to me in my real life. People would get, a wild hair in their butt, and CPS was called on me so many times that finally the supervisor, like the head woman in charge, came to my house. And she no longer done that. She was, rocking a desk at that time. She didn't do home visits and that whole thing, but she wanted to see what was going on because so many cases happened, open, close, open, close. And she came out, and the accusation was always the children were not being fed. And in my family, they still call me Baby Walmart. If my aunt down the street run out of something right now, before she go to Walmart, she'll come here because she know I got it, because I got 11 kids. I'm used to buying in bulk. So anyway, Miss Mayweather came to my house, saw my pantry, and was like, you know what? I'm sick of this. As long as I have this job, as long as I work here, I don't care if the president of the United States call on you, we will not be back to bother you, Miss Newby. But in the midst of, in between all of that, I got the call one day. I was at work, and I was sitting at my desk, and I'll never forget my assistant, Wendy. Well, that's Wendy. I miss Wendy. She was a good assistant. She went and got knocked up on me. But anyway, Wendy, she was, let me pause right there and just tell y'all, whenever I'm talking about a group of people, a type of person, I'm talking about the ones that I've experienced, not everybody as a whole. I say that to say Wendy was a white girl, and white people, the ones who I've experienced, seem to be more panicky and irrational. So Wendy, my assistant, I'm at work. I'm waiting on the CPS. They already been to the kids' school. I got the call. Now they coming up to my job to talk to me. And I'm sitting at my desk, and Wendy is like, I would be freaking out. Newbie, you're not even upset. Oh, go, 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 go. And I was upset. And inwardly, I was freaking out. But I have been taught by my parents to not show that. Freaking out, crying, breaking down is for private time. What I didn't realize, and this is the point that I'm getting to, that translated to a lot of people as indifference. When we had a death in the family, my children felt like she didn't love Pop Pop. She not even crying. She not breaking down. She just okay. But I'm trying to be strong for them. That day at my job, Wendy, and I'm sure some other people, felt like she don't even care if she lose her kids. She just, because when she came, I'll never forget when she came in my office, like, what are you going to do? And I said, my job. And that's what I was sitting there doing, going over notes. It translated like indifference, like I didn't care. So at this point in my life, again, with the husbands, a lot of different stuff, probably why so many ex-husbands, felt like I just didn't give a damn when I was trying to be strong and I was trying to hold it together. Until the day my son told me, Mom, when we see you panic, we feel like the world is coming to an end because you never panic. And with that, I'm still trying to train myself to show emotion, to just let them see it. That, like, fucking ouch, this hurts, and I'm crying. That is the hardest thing in the world for me to do, but I'm working on it. And it also taught me the communication. Truth, vulnerability, trust, and communication is so, so very important in a relationship, because I really felt like I had the whole mom thing sewed up and in a bag. Like I'm doing everything right. I'm giving them everything that they need. No, me with all my grand gestures, I gave them everything I thought they needed, but I was missing what they really wanted. You see how that worked? I don't know if that makes sense to anybody else's mind but mine. And actually, I've been on both sides of that in some of my past relationships. I don't know why. I've always been on first sight viewed as high maintenance. And I've never been that person. I've never been that person. And again, let's back to the childhoods. Because my mother had anything that a woman could have ever wanted financially. And the stuff my dad was good at, he was great at. Like we vacationed every summer, that whole thing, all that was perfect. But I never seen my mother smile. Never. Never. But let her want something. Like she got a freaking, I don't know, I was 8, 9, and I remember him talking about moths. And he built her a whole cedar closet to put her fur coats in. When we went on vacation, she wanted to flex her new Corvette he had brought her, so he built her a damn trailer to drag behind the camper to take on vacation with us. But I've never seen her smile. Why wasn't she smiling? Because she didn't have what she really wanted, his time. Because see, all in fur coats and vacations and Corvettes, he had to go work for that. So she wasn't getting the time she wanted. So as a little bitty itty thing, I always say, I don't care if me and my husband live in a cardboard box, as long as he spent time with me and I'm happy. But for some reason, men didn't believe that about me. And I had men that would go with the grand gestures and the big things and, I'm going to make this much money and I'm going to buy you this. I don't want that shit. I got a job. I know how to make money. My dad made sure that his kids knew how to be self-sufficient. I don't need your money. I have a, I don't know if it even falls under romance or whatever, but for the sake of this conversation, we're going to call it the most romantic thing that a man ever done for me. I don't know that this thing can ever be topped. Well, it don't have to now because we still together, but still. I listen to Nina Simone and Anita Baker when I'm upset, when I'm down, when I need a lift. Those are my go-to artists, right? So hubby came home from work. I was clearly upset about something. I don't even remember what it was. Probably my family. They know how to pick at me. But I was upset. And he said, you know what? He gave me some money. Like, go buy some baby stuff. It was a new baby. Why don't you go shopping for the baby? I'll finish dinner. I'll put the kids to bed. Go just take some time by yourself. Go shop for the baby. But that wasn't the part that got me. He said, let me go warm the car. Let me start the car so it'll be warm when you go out there, because we lived in Michigan. It's cold as shit. So he go turn the car on. When I go out to the car, all of Anita Baker and Nina Simone CDs are laid out in the passenger seat. He couldn't have brought me the Hope Diamond and outdone what he did in that moment, because it showed me that he paid attention and he cared about how I felt. All he wanted was for me to feel better. And no freaking amount of money can buy that feeling. But those other ones, they didn't see it. It was always about money. It was always about, I don't know. If I seem high maintenance, I'm not. I'm so easy to please, it's sickening. But the crazy thing about it is most people look over it. They look right through it, right past it, right over it. I'm very easy to please and I'm very understanding. And now I feel like I'm rambling. What the fuck was we talking about? Anyway, I won't hold y'all too much longer. It is late for y'all, not for me. I'll be up till I see the sun. I just keep going back looking at the words of this poem. I don't know if y'all caught that in the beginning. If you wasn't here, Red Ball, if you're catching this on the replay, tell me in the comments what y'all think of that poem. Because I wrote it about a boy, but I titled it Detox. And I think it's pretty relevant to some of the things we've been seeing going around in the sector. I mean, I've seen 3-4 hour conversations about boopies and tooties and people hitting $1.30 jackpots and how long are we gonna discuss and be angry at a goddamn dog for barking? Isn't that what dogs do? Woof, woof. Why are you mad? It's a dog. What do you expect it to do? Meow. With that said, I'm out of here. You've been in the lab with the mad scientist with her pen and pad. Peace.